At this moment, the world has entered the Ice Age. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 526. Listening to the researcher's endless introduction, Ying Ziyue heard it with gusto. They have done something, and Ying Ziyue has never been proud of it. When we came to a huge ocean again, the submarine dived. Mr. Ying, let's go first. The Xihai village we found last time. Ying Ziyue naturally has no objection. You must know that the mystery of the ocean world is no less than the universe. When they descended 5 kilometers to the bottom of the sea, huge 523 marine creatures appeared in front of them, some of which were not even seen by Ying Ziyue. All of this is impacting his vision. He suddenly thought, if people could breathe freely in the water, it would be great. Mr. Ying, we are ready to arrive at our destination. Do you want to go with us? Naturally, Ying Ziyue did not refuse. At the moment, when she put on the diving suit was extraordinarily comfortable. There was no need to carry a heavy oxygen cylinder. Only 2 things were stuffed in her nose. These 2 things are not simple. They will transmit oxygen, and at the same time there must be a sphere-shaped thing in the mouth. In order to filter the gas, it's like a human inhaling and exhaling. The 5 kilometers of the seabed was particularly dark, and the pressure of the water made people breathe a little bit. Fortunately, the protective clothing was improved, and when I pressed a button, the feeling suddenly disappeared. This is the first time Ying Ziyue has come into contact with her, and she just thinks it's a little weird. When they arrived at Xihai village, Ying Ziyue was stunned. He entered the village, which was all tile courtyards or some thatched houses. These houses are definitely 215 years old. That is the ancient period. There are also some objects and utensils. When they are picked up and examined carefully, the date is clearly engraved on them. Shengchang 215 years. It really is an ancient item. After taking a closer look, it is not difficult to see that there are some human bones, and the researcher will naturally not let it go and want to take it back and study it. Notice. Attention. There are unidentified creatures approaching. There was a warning sound in her ears. Ying Ziyue turned her head and saw a huge black creature approaching, and he quickly motioned for them to retreat. The researcher did not dare to delay, and they withdrew into the submarine one after another. Ying Ziyue immediately drove the accelerator under his feet, but the speed of the behemoth was faster. As soon as the tail was raised, it stirred up a whirlpool. Ying Ziyue was involved. When scientists witnessed this scene, they drove submarines to attack the creatures in front of them. Some researchers hurriedly went to rescue Ying Ziyue. However, Ying Ziyue was caught in the whirlpool and didn't know where to go. The behemoth was under control, but Ying Ziyue disappeared. Hurry up. Increase the search. You must find Mr. Ying, boss. Mr. Ying's life signs still exist. He is still alive. The researcher frowned. Then don't hurry to find it. When Ying Ziyue woke up, he didn't know where he was, but when he saw the scene in front of him, he was stunned. Sea in the sea. When he looked at the sea that appeared in front of him, he was lost in thought. He was in the sea, and now he saw another ocean in the sea. The sea in the sea really exists. Ying Ziyue wandered in the sea, swimming on that sea. He planned to go down and study it, but before that, he had to contact other researchers to inform his findings. Just as the researcher was at a loss, Ying Ziyue's video call came. Mr. Ying, are you alright? Ying Ziyue shook her head and motioned for them to watch the scene in front of them. The moment the researcher saw it, he was also stunned. In the sea. Chapter 527. The appearance of the sea in the sea surprised the scientists. After locating Ying Ziyue's location, they rushed over. However, the behemoth marine creatures still exist, and they must be extremely careful. Okay, I'll go and investigate everywhere first. You guys come as soon as possible. Before the researcher could speak, Ying Ziyue's image suddenly disappeared. When he tried to connect again, it was disconnected due to unstable signal. What can I do? Mr. Ying is alone. It's not good to be in danger. headed by King, clenched his fists tightly. Increase your horsepower and go to where Mr. Ying is. The researcher immediately located Ying Ziyue's position, but when they saw the location of the red dot, they were stunned. Why is Mr. Ying there at this moment? Ying Ziyue swims into the 0 to sea and the sea point. The sea and the sea is even more pitch black, and the surrounding environment can't be seen clearly. When the overhead light is turned on, the field of vision becomes wider. There were reefs all around, and as she went downstream, Ying Ziyue suddenly realized that this seemed to be a sea cliff point. In other words, this is a cliff. Ying Ziyue then swam to the deepest point and found a huge sea snake. The sea snake twisted its soft waist and wandered in the sea. When they encountered an electric eel, the two snakes fought together. The bulbfish suddenly appeared next to Ying Ziyue. Its light was much brighter than the equipment on top of Ying Ziyue's head, and the environment that could be seen was much more. The corner of Ying Ziyue's mouth rose slightly, as if thinking of something. She grabbed the bulbfish and forcibly bound it with a rope. I will trouble you to be a light bulb during this time. As soon as the bulbfish was scared, the light became stronger and stronger. Ying Ziyue knew that this light might cause unnecessary trouble, so you must hide first. Sure enough, the light attracted some creatures, whether small or large. They were all driving towards Ying Ziyue point. He immediately speeded up and walked away. Just as he breathed a sigh of relief, he picked up the light bulb fish to shine ahead. Point. The lights were everywhere, and the dark sight was instantly illuminated. Point. Ying Ziyue's body straightened, her hands trembling, and her eyes couldn't move away from looking at her for a long time. Point. At this moment, he was looking at a pair of green eyes. He entered the lab by mistake. The behemoth inside opened its blood basin and revealed its sharp teeth. And those stern eyes were full of death stares. It is bigger than a shark, and its skin is brown. Ying Ziyue threw off the light bulb fish in her hand, turned around and ran. Point. The giant fish behind him flicked its tail, and the cliff trembled 3 times. Its speed was absolutely above Ying Ziyue. Point. A strong air wave hit Ying Ziyue again, directly intensifying its speed. Point. It just happened to be surrounded by other creature fish in front of him. The horror of these fish is no less than the one behind it. Point. He must make sure that he will not be harmed. Ying Ziyue gritted his teeth and looked at the creatures flanking on both sides. He took a deep breath and stroked the switch tightly with his hand. 32 go. Ying Ziyue pushed down the special device of the diving suit hard, and he suddenly moved upstream at a speed of 100 meters per second. Point. The speed was so fast that the giant creature fish collided with other fish and finally fell into the giant fish's mouth and became its food. Point. The fish's blood was permeated, and the giant fish's pupils gradually turned scarlet. It seemed that it had no intention of letting off Ying Ziyue. Ying Ziyue had no choice but to roam. Point. But it was still a step too late. Seeing the giant fish open its huge mouth to eat Ying Ziyue in his abdomen. Point. Just at this moment, a harsh sound of nature came from my ears. Chapter 528. Not to mention the harsh sound, but also accompanied by powerful water waves. Ying Ziyue couldn't bear to faint even more. Point. At the moment he fainted, he vaguely saw a weird creature coming towards him. Point. Human head fish tail. Is it an illusion? Ying Ziyue fainted. Point. About 10 minutes later, Ying Ziyue regained consciousness. He held his forehead and froze suddenly, looking around. Point. To my surprise, he was on the shore. Isn't he in the sea? Water, or that he has gone ashore? Question mark. Ying Ziyue was surrounded by stone walls. When he saw the entrance of a cave, he quickly ran out, and as soon as he ran out, it was the bottom of the sea. Point. His heart throbbed. Point. Then he quickly returned to the cave. Point. He understood that the air pressure on the bottom of the sea is very large, and the force-bearing area of this cave is so large that the water cannot overflow. But how could he appear here? Ying Ziyue fell into deep thought, which inevitably reminded him of the fish that he saw vaguely at the moment he fainted. Point. Could it be that the deepest part of the bottom of the sea is the scorpion fish? Ying Ziyue was shocked by her own thoughts at this moment. The researchers finally contacted Ying Ziyue. After Ying Ziyue informed them that she was okay, she turned on the lights and continued searching. Point. At the moment when the lights were turned on, the cave was exuding fragments of light. Point. Submarine crystal. The submarine crystal is so shining, and seeing its purity, if you guessed it correctly, it must have a history of millions of years. Only the precipitation of time can form such a brilliant crystal point. Each crystal piles up huge, and some looks like a giant elephant or an eagle with its wings spread out. In short, it makes people linger. Just when he was pleasing to the eye, a huge hole on the side caught his attention. The hole was so big that Ying Ziyue jumped in without hesitation. As soon as I jumped in, I smelled an unpleasant smell and a bit sticky at the same time. When the light was shining in the hole, Ying Ziyue was surprised to find that the stuff in it turned out to be oil. Since the new era, the consumption of oil has not decreased. The most serious situation is facing high oil prices, or oil has become rare. Today, Ying Ziyue's discovery is absolutely indispensable to their development. Ying Ziyue immediately marked this place. At this moment, the light of the submarine hit the cave. Ying Ziyue naturally noticed that he got up from the cave and walked out of the cave. After the researcher detected Ying Ziyue's whereabouts, he immediately got off the submarine. When they saw the cave in the hill, they swam in without hesitation. "Mr. Ying, are you alright?" Woking breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Ying Ziyue, who was safe and sound. But when the light hit Ying Ziyue's body, the researcher was stunned. At this moment, Ying Ziyue was completely dark, exuding oil. And many more. The researcher suddenly realized that there was no water in this cave. Ying Ziyue walked towards them. "Did you find out too?" Wuking's expression was full of surprises. "Is it gasoline on your body?" And, Lila's Heyo, there are crystals in this mine. It's so incredible. Wuking looked around, his brows and eyes bursting with light. Ying Ziyue nodded. "I also found this place by accident, Mr. Ying. You know that the most scarce thing in our country is oil." If Ying Ziyue is undeniable, it's just that the marine biological system has been repairing. It is not an easy task to dive tens of thousands of meters under the sea, just like the creatures we met just now. Chapter 529. It's just that I believe that the difficulties will not be difficult for you. In addition to conquering space, the ocean is also indispensable. Ying Ziyue's voice was a little deep. He knew that, in order to enter the second civilization, he had to overcome many unsolved mysteries, and also needed to discover more resources. The marine resources are extremely rich, and oil is now discovered again, which is absolutely powerful for their industrial development. It's just that it is not an easy task to dig it up from the seabed at a depth of 100,000 meters. This matter has yet to be discussed. Mark this place first. Petroleum. We have to decide. Listening to Ying Ziyue's words, the researchers present were a little excited. "It is good." Ying Ziyue came to the crystal, picked up a small crystal that had fallen on the ground, and then handed it to the scientific researcher. "Take these crystals back and study them carefully. I suspect that its history is not simple, and it may be used in some developments." The scientific researcher held the crystal in the palm of his hand and carefully measured it. When he looked at its purity, he was stunned. After leaving the cave, a few people boarded the submarine. The submarine has its own protection function, so the road is unimpeded. Submarines come with a kind of sound wave. This kind of sound wave interferes with marine life. Of course, they will not use it when they have to. When Ying Ziyue put on the headphones, he frowned when he heard the sound wave. This voice is somewhat familiar to what he heard before fainting. When the researchers saw Ying Ziyue's rigorous face, they didn't bother him. Where did this sound wave come from? When Wuking heard Ying Ziyue's question, she became excited. "Mr. Ying, you really asked the right person for this question." Wuking immediately talked about the origin of this sound wave. It turned out that Professor Liun, who went to the sea to experience life and death, was Wuking's master, and he invented that sound wave. Back then, my master went to the sea alone, but because of carelessness, he sank into the sea and was about to be eaten by sharks. At this critical moment, a sound wave came, and the sound drove the sharks around him. It's just that the old man, the master, didn't meet the creature who saved him, but the voice has been engraved in his mind, so that he has studied the current sound wave. After research, it was discovered that sound waves have a kind of energy, the energy that allows marine life to surrender. After Ying Ziyue listened, she fell into deep thought. The origin of the sound wave is definitely not simple. Will it be the same as what he heard? Of course, this is only Ying Ziyue's suspicion. Maybe, he just auditory hallucinations. After returning to the research institute, Ying Ziyue discussed with them how to mine oil in the sea. At this moment, Ying Ziyue suddenly proposed, "Have you ever thought about building a submarine city on the ocean floor?" As soon as Ying Ziyue said this, everyone in the research institute dared not speak. Mr. Ying, if you want to build a submarine city, you definitely need to think about it from many perspectives. We have not yet broken the secrets of the ocean. This is too early for us to say. Ying Ziyue nodded, then slowly raised her eyes. "So, I will give you 2 years. 2 years." The scientist was choked again, and it seemed impossible to fumble the ocean completely in 2 years. Chapter 530. Only when they saw Ying Ziyue's rigorous and non-joking look, they could only bite the bullet and take it. "I know this puts a lot of pressure on you, but it will become your motivation. We don't have time." The researcher obviously didn't understand. What did Ying Ziyue mean by saying there was no time point? However, since it was Ying Ziyue's order, they would naturally do it. Ying Ziyue returned to Dragon City Point dealing with all these things. When he saw a piece of information about the universe, he quickly picked it up. When this letter appeared here, he didn't know. Furthermore, in what age is it now? How can someone choose to use letters to convey information? Ying Ziyue opened it with curiosity. When I opened it, I saw a few big characters. "Don't try to decipher the universe, we can't afford it." It's just a simple sentence, but it's filled with serious warnings. Ying Ziyue held the letter tightly and summoned the secretary immediately. "Who sent this letter?" The secretary shook his head straight. "It was delivered by a courier, but the envelope has no name, no surname and no address. We don't know who delivered it." Listening to what the secretary said, Ying Ziyue frowned. This letter was obviously warning him. But this made Ying Ziyue more and more to explore. After he threw the letter in his hand aside, he just received a letter from space. "Mr. Ying, everything went well for mining, but there is sad news that some of our researchers have disappeared." "How come?" Ying Ziyue said that the tone of the voice came and went one after another. The researcher on the opposite side looked rigorous and made no jokes. "Yes, it was a sudden disappearance. You have to know that if you disappear in space, the chances of getting it back are very rare. Even the things we used to locate are suddenly disconnected. We unanimously doubt whether it was caused by aliens." The researcher on the other end of the phone said that his voice was obviously a little angry, and he felt a little sad at the same time. "You sort it out and give me the information of the missing researchers. I'll go up in a few days." The researcher on the other end of the phone nodded. After hanging up the phone, Ying Ziyue fell into deep thought. If aliens did it, wouldn't it be their warning? Ying Ziyue clenched her fists. 0 fine flowers with a ding dong. The information sent by the researcher was received in the mailbox. When opening the document, Ying Ziyue's eyes popped up with the few disappeared people. Looking at it roughly, those who disappeared were all young people in their 20s. Ying Ziyue clenched his fists and began to blame himself for the disappearance of the flowers of the motherland. He was too anxious. 0 It's just that things have happened and there is no way back. They must accelerate development. Ying Ziyue thought so and immediately ordered more weapons to be transported to the universe. Of course, this is only done in secret in order to avoid panic. "Mr. Ying, if the situation continues, the manufacturing of the space elevator will probably stop." Lin K was a little worried. Ying Ziyue naturally understood his worries. It's just that the development has been halfway there and there is no reason to stop. Let them focus on the protective cover first. At least this will be one of our lines of defense. First, let the development of the space elevator be suspended and focus on the protective cover. If you face aliens, they will not be opponents, but at least their protection must be in place. Death Chapter 531. Ying Ziyue called a meeting immediately. All the scientists and researchers gathered together to discuss research issues. "Everyone, we are here today because we have a new plan to implement." The scientists pushed their glasses one after another, with serious expressions on their faces. "What do you want to say about discovering the people of Apple?" Ying Ziyue sat on the suspended chair and watched the 533 experts around him slowly speak. Researchers have been studying the newly discovered aliens, but they do not exist in their data. An unknown creature, the speed of light can reach 100,000 light years per hour. The development of science and technology is naturally above us. Plus the last time it warned us, it is conceivable that it is not friendly. Lin Ke frowned, recalling what happened that day. He was still worried. Ying Ziyue nodded in agreement. Professor Lin is right, so we must have everything ready. After and other professors have been thinking, we call this plan S57 Energy Wall Production Plan. Ying Ziyue talked about the production of the S57 Energy Wall, the reason for making this plan. Everyone should know it well, just in case, whether it is an alien or a variety of meteorites, it is absolutely difficult to break through. You also understand the mineral crystals used, especially a kind of decomposer in it, which is easy to get out, but difficult to get in. So, I intend to implement this plan, and it is expected to be completed in 2 years. The people present listened to what Ying Ziyue said, and they whispered. They had heard about it a long time ago, and now listening to what Ying Ziyue said, this plan is not bad. However, it is expected to be completed in 2 years. This is simply impossible. Listening to the researchers' discussion, Ying Ziyue coughed and motioned to calm them down. I know this is difficult for you, but time waits for no one. We don't have time. The Apple Star is technologically advanced. If he wants to break us, it is definitely an easy thing. At least, let's protect the Earth first. In 1 year, I believe in your strength. The scientist was silent, saying so, but Lin Ke sighed, then slowly stood up. Okay, we try our best to zero no. What I want is that you must succeed. I don't want to hear any uncertain sentences. Ying Ziyue's sharp words silenced the scientists' present. Only a young man had a look of excitement, and there was a look of excitement in his eyebrows and eyes. Mr. Ying, don't worry. We will definitely live up to expectations. Ying Ziyue noticed the man in front of him, and saw him slap the table up, full of fighting spirit. Ying Ziyue pursed her lips and chuckled softly. Very good, very motivated. What's your name? Only then did the man realize that he was out of shape, and scratched his head shyly. I'm a newcomer. Huang. Ying Ziyue nodded. Well, very energetic young people. You old people should study more. The researcher sighed leisurely. How can a newcomer understand this daunting project? The person in charge of this project will be handed over to you. Lin Ke. Lin Ke was named, and could only bite the bullet, and agreed. It seems somewhat impossible to complete the S57 energy wall in 2 years, but Ying Ziyue's words were already finished, and they had no choice. Chapter 532. Then Mr. Ying, the space elevator project can only be suspended. Fang He raised doubts. After all scientists have put their minds on the S57 energy wall, so it seems that the space elevator can only be suspended. Ying Ziyue originally wanted to pause, but after his thoughts, he gave up this idea. Having a space elevator can only make them more convenient, whether it is a means of transportation or space escape, which is beneficial to them. So the space elevator plan needs to be carried out. The space elevator project is still underway, but the focus is on the S57 Energy Wall 02. The space elevator project is not something you should be worried about. Naturally, someone else will take over. At this moment, a knock on the door sounded. Ding. Professor Yang King. When the face recognition system of the mechanical door rang, the people around it ordered no. Professor Yang King, please come in. When Yang King came in, everyone was in a daze. The person who came was an elderly man on crutches, but he was dressed in the white coat he was wearing during the study. Professor Yang King, aren't you retired? You know, Yang King was a man of the year. Not only did a lot of puzzling research work, but also discovered the existence of energy. This has absolute influence in the entire research community. It's just that Professor Yang King had already retired due to physical reasons in his early years. Now, he is back again, which is incredible. Professor Yang King was invited by me to be responsible for the research and guidance of the S57 energy wall. When the researchers heard Ying Ziyue's words, they were all surprised. Of course, they looked extremely calm on the surface, but they were actually full of excitement. For this research, I'm more certain. After the meeting dissipated, Ying Ziyue did not stop, but put her mind in the ocean. Whether in space or under the sea, you must keep up with the rhythm. Ying Ziyue convened an ocean conference again, and this ocean conference was not easy. Because of the discovery of the existence of petroleum and various minerals, the most important thing is the discovery of seabed crystals. For the study of seabed crystals, Scientists have also reached a conclusion and invited Ying Ziyue to listen. When they came to the institute, the scientists invited Ying Ziyue to sit down. As soon as Ying Ziyue sat down, the scientists immediately released the projection. The crystal was shown on the projection. Mr. Ying, we have discovered that this crystal has a history of hundreds of thousands of years. I have to say that the history is very long. It is formed by a substance slowly condensing, because in it, we have found the presence of cells. This kind of cell exists in the crystal. After research with biologists, it is found that this kind of cell is active and has a certain role in medicine. The biologist also introduced, yes, whether it is used on humans or animals, it has a very good repairing effect, but his repairing effect is wider, and we are still studying it. Ying Ziyue nodded after listening, obviously very pleased with the discovery. This time Woking wanted to say something but stopped, but she didn't dare to say something. Ying Ziyue immediately saw, Professor Woking, just say anything, it won't get in the way. Woking took a deep breath and slowly said, that's it. We also found traces of humans in this crystal. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 533. Wuking's words made Ying Ziyue's eyes widen. Traces of humanity. Wuking nodded. Well, it looks like a trace of human beings in ancient times. After all, the projection immediately showed traces similar to human fingerprints. Thanks to the advanced technology, fingerprints can be analyzed automatically. System analysis. A human girl is about 15 years old, thick eyebrows, big eyes, dark hair, small face, thick lips, 85 jins. Height. Listening to the introduction of the robot, the girl's appearance appeared in everyone's mind. It's just that, how can a 15-year-old girl be immersed in the bottom of the sea? When I think of this, I can't help but feel a little regretful. After the discussion, Woking asked, Mr. Ying, when do you plan to implement the plan for oil extraction? Now, they only need to wait for Ying Ziyue's order. As long as Ying Ziyue orders, they will act immediately. It's just that the depth of the sea floor is not easy for them to transport up. Ying Ziyue turned on her projection. Well, oil must be exploited, but we need to rely on machines. After speaking, the projection immediately showed the appearance of the machine. The machine is huge, with industrial pipes and a transparent pipe. The oil from the seabed, connected by the pipe, is automatically pumped up, and on the side is a purifier. The oil that is pumped up is washed. Of course, this project is not huge, and it can be completed by modifying old machines. The only difference is that this tube must be long. Tens of thousands of meters long is necessary, so time will almost be wasted on this pipe. If the pipe is completed, the oil can be extracted automatically. No more manual labor. The researchers present nodded their heads in agreement with Ying Ziyue's approach. Mr. Ying, leave this project to me. I promise to complete the task. Woking patted his chest with confidence. Ying Ziyue don't smile deeply. After the meeting, Ying Ziyue returned to Lang Cheng's office building. He stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, with a saucer floating beside it, and a cup of coffee was on the saucer. Ying Ziyue took it, and took a sip. All the plans have entered the state again, and then he needs to wait. But while waiting, he still needs to do more research. Research about space civilization. The letter from the last time has always made him worry about it, trying to find out who sent it, but it still doesn't help. There is no way to do this when picking up the letter again. Ying Ziyue snorted coldly. The less he didn't want to touch something, the more he wanted to explore it clearly. Ding dong, Secretary Lin, come in. The secretary walked in quickly. Her face didn't improve much. Mr. Ying, your disappearance in the past half-month has left most of your work behind. Please deal with it as soon as possible. The secretary finished speaking and clapped his hands. No, a flying robot flew out immediately behind her, and the body of the robot was carrying various materials. Ying Ziyue squeezed her brows when she saw so many Li Hao's Hao jobs. After the secretary let the robot down, he left Ying Ziyue's office. Ying Ziyue looked at the pile of materials on the desktop, but she could only accept her fate, picked up one of them and read it. The evolution of combat uniforms. Specific introduction. Add some attack and medical functions from the basic combat uniform, which also comes with its own storage function. Ying Ziyue looked at the introduction, suddenly became interested, and immediately clicked on the VR video. Chapter 534. The video opened at one point, and a black combat uniform immediately appeared in front of you. The sleeves of the combat uniform came with 2 buttons. As for the storage function, it is in the abdomen. When you push it down, a gun appears in front of you. This completely aroused Ying Ziyue's curiosity. How could a huge gun be put in her arms? Immediately afterwards, there is a graphic introduction. The reducer we studied has been successful, so it is absolutely perfect for use on combat uniforms. When the attack button was clicked, a submachine gun appeared on the wrist. The submachine gun was embedded in the sleeve of the shirt. When the shot was fired, it burst into motion. At the same time, the combat uniform can be invulnerable, which is absolutely necessary for combat. Ying Ziyue recognized the research very much, and immediately pressed the seal of approval on the paper, and contacted the researcher on the initiative. Hello, it's Professor Huang Qing. I have seen the information you sent. I agree with this research. Is there a finished product now? Huang Qing on the other end of the phone was very excited when he heard Ying Ziyue's voice, because he couldn't imagine that he would receive a call from him during a meeting. Mr. Ying, it's an absolute honor for us. Come whenever you want. We absolutely welcome you. The corner of Ying Ziyue's mouth rose slightly, and then an appointment was made. When Professor Huang Qing met Ying Ziyue, when he came to the institute, he immediately changed. Mr. Ying, come, we are ready. Ying Ziyue was surprised at Huang Qing, who was so enthusiastic. Other researchers seem to be accustomed to it. You must know that Huang Qing's idol is Ying Ziyue. Now that his works are appreciated by idols, can he be unhappy? When he came to the conference room again, Huang Qing immediately introduced the various functions of the combat uniform, and invited Ying Ziyue to try it on. Naturally, Ying Ziyue was not polite. The moment she put it on, she was very comfortable without any discomfort. When he pressed the attack button, a small cannon appeared on his sleeve. Mr. Ying, don't underestimate this small cannon. It's powerful. Ying Ziyue nodded thoughtfully. This research is good. I like it very much. I want to focus on this research, but I have a request. I wonder if Professor Huang Qing can accept it. Huang Qing was stunned for a while when he heard Ying Ziyue asks for himself. How could he refuse it? I didn't even ask, I just agreed. Mr. Ying, you say you will not hesitate. Develop this combat suit into a combat spacesuit, which can move and fight freely in space. Huang Qing was stunned. He had heard about aliens from the grapevine. Now that Ying Ziyue asked for it, it is very likely that it was true. That being the case, he will naturally stand up. Mr. Ying, you can rest assured that we will definitely create a brand new space combat suit. Seeing Huang Qing's firm look, Ying Ziyue nodded. What he needed was such an ambitious person. After Ying Ziyue left, Huang Qing immediately convened a meeting and pointed out that their research was listed as a research focus. This news made the people in their research institute very different. You know, science and technology are developing all over the world, but there are quite a few people who can make Ying Ziyue a favorite and become a key development target, and they happen to be one of them. Can you be unhappy? Chapter 535. When dealing with the issue of the spacesuit, Ying Ziyue received a call from the spaceport. Lin Kei's projection appeared in front of him, and Ying Ziyue was lying on the suspended chair, looking at the tired Lin Kei with a smile on her face. In the past few days, their S-Energy Wall research team has been awake at night, and finally made a breakthrough, successfully decomposing the mineral crystals. But if they want to create a huge energy protection wall, they may need thousands of mineral crystals. Factor out that factor. Lin Kei informed Ying Ziyue of her worries. You know, although the resources of the planet Bell are abundant, it may take a long time to wait for it to recover. If we mine this, the mineral crystals of the planet Bell may have to face. Lin Kei didn't go on, and Ying Ziyue naturally thought that they could only do this in the face of the country's development. Have you thought of a way to save resources? or to minimize the use of resources. Listening to what Ying Ziyue said, Lin Ke took a deep breath, then shook his head. This is obviously extremely difficult for them. Ying Ziyue understood. Don't worry, this matter will be handled by me. Lin Ke suddenly smiled when he heard Ying Ziyue's assurance. Mr. Ying, I still need to trouble you about this matter. Ying Ziyue nodded. After closing the screen, Ying Ziyue immediately contacted the space exploration team. Mr. Ying, it's so late. Do you have any instructions? On the opposite side is a middle-aged man. Behind the middle-aged man is various equipment. It is conceivable that he is still staying up late and working overtime. Professor Li, hello. Li Wen pushed his glasses and nodded. Now there is a task that needs to be completed by your team. Can you take it? Li Wen's hand paused. In the past few weeks, he had nothing to do and could only concentrate on his research. Now Ying Ziyue has personally approached the door and told him that there is something to do. This made him feel that he had heard it wrong. Mr. Ying, are you kidding? Seeing Li Wen's incredulous expression, Ying Ziyue nodded. No kidding. Li Wen smiled immediately. Mr. Ying, despite your instructions, I will definitely complete the task. Ying Ziyue suddenly looked serious and explained the current situation. After listening, Li Wen nodded thoughtfully. 0 fine flowers, you mean let our team explore new mineral crystals? Ying Ziyue nodded undeniably. Yes, it's just that the journey of exploration may be a bit difficult, Mr. Ying. As long as you order, no matter what, we will do it for you. For the country, this is nothing. Li Wen spoke impassioned, and Ying Ziyue was very pleased to see this. It's just that now is not the time to act. I'm waiting for a few weeks. Yes, Ying Ziyue plans to hand it over to them after the space combat suit is ready, just in case. In order to avoid confrontation with aliens, she can only wait for the combat suit to be ready. Mr. Ying, don't worry, we can wait. We will make all preparations in these few weeks. Well, I believe you also understand what you may face if you go. Safety first in everything. Remember, when you encounter danger, don't stay. Li Wen nodded heavily, indicating that he would pay attention. People in the entire scientific community understand that the existence of aliens also knows that they have a certain degree of danger, and technology is above them. No matter what they do, they must be careful. Death Chapter 536. After projecting on the screen, Ying Ziyue looked tired. He has been busy with various projects these days, even late at night. Ying Ziyue still didn't stop. Tomorrow, he must check the progress of the spacesuit. If the spacesuit is completed, then scientists in space will have less unnecessary trouble. Because of this, Ying Ziyue pays more attention to the production of spacesuits. Secretary Lin, you ordered May 4th. 7 to go down, and the live broadcast is ready to start. Whether it is the S-579 energy wall, the underwater world, or the space elevator, the live broadcasts have been started, so that the whole people can see it. The secretary nodded immediately after hearing this. As soon as the live broadcast started, citizens around the world became excited again. Who doesn't like to pay attention to the technological developments that can be seen in this show? At the beginning of this live broadcast, one after another dominated the TV charts, and some people even wanted to record the journey of development every day. This will definitely be a nostalgic scene in the future. Ying Ziyue didn't pay much attention either, and came to Li Qing's research institute. How is the spacesuit made? Li Qing was stunned by Ying Ziyue's sudden arrival, with a melancholy expression on his face. Yes, they are currently facing technical problems. It is very difficult for them to reduce the spacesuit to a comfortable look like a combat suit, because they can't find a suitable fabric for them. After Ying Ziyue listened, she fell into deep thought. Have you tried all of them? Li Qing nodded. If he couldn't find a suitable one, it would definitely affect the comfort of wearing. Of course, comfort is only the second thing. This solution must be resolved, and it needs to be completed as soon as possible. Ying Ziyue frowned slightly, picked up the space combat suit, and examined it carefully. Active. If you use crystals from the bottom of the sea, you might be able to accomplish something in a spacesuit. Ying Ziyue thought about this, and asked the secretary to contact the seabed researcher. After the researcher heard Ying Ziyue's question, He suddenly woke up. Submarine crystals have active factors, so why not apply them to fibers? Of course, no one has tried this yet, and they will be the first scientists to turn seabed crystals into fibers. The extraction of submarine crystals is not as complicated as mineral crystals. After many complicated processes, they have been successfully extracted. When synthesizing the cloth, everyone present was stunned. This kind of fabric is extensible, airtight and not sultry at the same time. The most important thing is that it is difficult to break. What scientists want is this kind of cloth. This fabric is much more advanced than what they use. After about a few days, Ying Ziyue finally waited for the news. The spacesuit is complete. After Ying Ziyue received the news, she did not dare to delay and immediately went to the research institute. As soon as he entered the door, the spacesuit caught his eye. Although the spacesuit is close to the body, it does not lose its prestige. Mr. Ying, do you want to try it? Professor King warmly invited, but Ying Ziyue did not refuse. At the moment of putting on the spacesuit, it is just right, and the fabric is extensible. No matter how fat people want to wear it, it is not a problem. Mr. Ying, you wait. No, Professor King took a helmet from the side. The helmet is black, and it is difficult to see the inside from the outside, but it is easy to see the outside from the inside. At the same time, there is an extra layer of high technology in the eyes of the helmet, which can automatically analyze the function whenever you see it, which is very simple. As long as Ying Ziyue wanted to, he could still put on his clothes on the outer layer. Chapter 537. Mr. Ying, these are not over yet. We have also incorporated various previous technologies. As long as you press down on your arm, several cannons will pop up, and there is also an emergency function. Ying Ziyue became interested. After pressing it down, his arms immediately turned into a sturdy cannon, and the floating firelight suddenly appeared under the feet, and Ying Ziyue was directly suspended. This floating light can fly freely in space, and will no longer be controlled by gravity. At the same time, this clothing has this function, and will not be controlled by gravity. Listening to the introduction of the scientist, Ying Ziyue wanted to try more and more. When entering the experimental area, Ying Ziyue entered the research room of the simulated universe. Standing there, Ying Ziyue activated the floating flames under his feet. He was able to roam freely in the research room. At first, it was a little difficult to control, but as time passed, it was easy. At this moment, he is like a Superman, flying in space. Ying Ziyue stopped, pressed the attack button in her hand, and all the equipment rushed out. Whether it was a hand cannon or a laser sword. It's fresh, and Ying Ziyue is very satisfied. When you press the protect button, there are multiple choices. There is not a lack of a complete set of spacesuits. An emergency phone to contact the main courtyard, and oxygen. These things are very dazzling. You can make many choices. This research is very good. When King heard Ying Ziyue's praise, her face was happy. With your words, we can rest assured. Paying for the country. It is what we should be. During this night, spacesuits were mass-produced and handed over to the scientists of the universe. When the scientists received the new spacesuit, they only found it incredible. How to make such a perfect spacesuit in such a short time. Ying Ziyue also found the exploration team specially, and after handing over the spacesuit to them, she spoke earnestly. I will leave the space exploration to you. We will broadcast it in real time, and I will see it as soon as something happens. The scientists were taken aback for a moment, looked at the camera that had been flying around, and then smiled. Mr. Ying, don't worry, we won't let you down. After the exploratory team left, they went into space. Ying Ziyue, who returned to the Langcheng office, breathed a sigh of relief and pressed his lips as he watched the huge project broadcast in real time. The speed of the project must be accelerated. Lin Ke calls. Lin Ke's image suddenly appeared in front of Ying Ziyue. Lin Ke's face was complicated and accompanied by sadness. Mr. Ying, it's not good. A few scientists have disappeared recently. After Ying Ziyue listened, she slapped the table and stood up. What the hell is going on? Ying Ziyue frowned. She was obviously a bit warm and angry. A good person. How can she disappear and disappear? We don't understand. Even the positioning has disappeared. I can't find it at all. I suspect Lin K's image suddenly got stuck and finally disappeared. Ying Ziyue gritted her teeth, knowing that things have become more complicated. Now, get in touch with the people in the space war. Ying Ziyue called the secretary, speaking in a particularly aggressive tone. Obviously not calm. It was the first time that the secretary saw Ying Ziyue like this, and was naturally shocked. At the same time, he knew the seriousness of the matter, and didn't dare to delay. But in any case, I can't get in touch. Even the video flight instrument that carried out the broadcast was suddenly shut down. This is unexpected to everyone. Chapter 538. Ying Ziyue's phone rang suddenly. Mr. Ying, it's okay. Something serious happened, and all the signals from the space station suddenly disappeared. We can't connect. The person studying the base station was very anxious and a little panicked at the same time. Ying Ziyue understands naturally. Can't connect. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. At this moment, he didn't even have a trace of defense. At this moment, the scientist on the other side of the image suddenly said in surprise, "Connected." Just as the scientist was happy, what was displayed on the screen was not the scientist. It was a guy covered in green. They were dressed in weird spacesuits, which they hadn't seen before. Not their scientist at all. Humans, I warn you, don't touch everything in the universe. That's ours. A strange sound came from the green helmet. This sound was obviously processed. They have already deciphered the language of the Earth. All TV screens in the world and even screen devices in the world are controlled by them, and they are just like them. It is precisely because of this that all citizens are suddenly panicked. Alien. It's really an alien. What to do? It's terrible. It won't attack us. Don't let them go digging into space. The alien's bottom line has already been touched. Because of this passage, many people started addressing Ying Ziyue's plan, and even launched an anti-space program. They asked Ying Ziyue to suspend various projects of the space program. Ying Ziyue naturally knew about this. Mr. Ying, are you okay? The secretary held the hot coffee and handed it to Ying Ziyue. After Ying Ziyue took it, he drank, and he looked like he was okay. The secretary sighed, but could only stop disturbing him. At the same time, Ying Ziyue received a lot of mailboxes, and the general meaning of the mailboxes was to stop him from the space project. It's just that Ying Ziyue has a clear goal, so how can it be possible to stop and stop? Ying Ziyue stood up, and suddenly, news of Lin K came. After Ying Ziyue saw it, he quickly connected to Lin K. Mr. Ying. Finally connected to you. Lin K looked a little frightened. He looked around, then spoke softly. Today, we met the alien. He warned us, and even broke through our security. This is our negligence. Ying Ziyue tightened her lips. No, you are doing a good job. Next, I will make arrangements. This project, I'm afraid, that research cannot be carried out in space anymore. Come back. After Lin K heard this, he didn't know what to say, so he could only agree. After hanging up, Ying Ziyue fell into thought again. If this continues, it is absolutely easy for aliens to break through their Earth. Therefore, there must be personnel stationed in space, which of course is extremely dangerous. It seems that training is needed. Ying Ziyue thought so, and immediately connected to Bayode from the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces. Mr. Ying, what's the matter with your coming? Ying Ziyue was sitting on the sofa, her rigorous eyes. Lili Ziyue did not relax at all. You should also know that the aliens have pretended to be warned of us. Bayode sighed deeply, obviously helpless, but there seemed to be no way to stop it. Mr. Ying, do you have a way? Ying Ziyue nodded. Immediately recruit a large number of troops to cultivate space troops. Our space base station needs to be guarded, and our Earth needs to be guarded. Now it is not only to protect the country, but to protect the entire planet. Chapter 539. The current direction of the Earth is extremely clear. First of all, the first is that the outer space program is in progress. There are also underwater cities in progress. Now in the tallest conference room in Dragon City, Ying Ziyue is inside. He sits quietly, his eyes solemn and heavy. It is the beginning of June and the 24th year of the Ice Age, and half a year has passed, and the progress of each item in the east is very rapid. Ying Ziyue sighed quietly. There were notices in front of him, which were notices of discovering an unknown civilization in the universe. There are also notices that certain human teams have disappeared in the ancient stars of life. This is the price to pay for scientific research, because in the next era of the future, the East will go to develop one ancient life star. So, there is a price to pay when facing the future. The price will be perish or disappear, but it is also promoting the progress of one civilization. This is the development of the times. It seems extremely complicated and cruel, but it is inevitable. Next to Ying Ziyue, engineer Li Hao, there are also intelligent robots standing. The robot is reporting today's news. Respectively, the Western agricultural land has completely entered into thorough agriculturalization, which means that it can independently supply global food. At the same time, it is hoped that the Eagle country will also completely become an agricultural center, all schools and learning places for their children, etc. Everything about development is aimed at people's livelihood and public opinion. At the same time, the industrial land in the West can completely cope with global industrial development. For example, some parts of airships, parts of aircraft carriers, and parts of icebreakers can all be manufactured in the Rose country, and they have completely become the machinery industry. The base has opened up the industrial economic development of factories one by one. Ying Ziyue is very satisfied with the development of these two regions, because these two represent the new development of the civilized world. Li Hao is the same as Ying Ziyue now. That is, for the future, there is only the pursuit of civilization, and there is no longer any attachment to any relationship point, because when you truly stand on this dimension, and lead the whole mankind, to start a new civilization, the so-called love, feelings, and private affairs will all dissipate, and all will disappear, because they are extremely high and extremely tall. Ying Ziyue speaks. Now is the 24th year and 6th month of the Ice Age, and it's about to reach the 25th year. No one would have thought how many changes have taken place on the Earth in these 25 years, and how many scientific research teams in the East are investigating. All disappear. This is a real era, a real super development strategy era. Next, arrange a meeting, and start a meeting in the afternoon. It is about the underwater city. This is a very important meeting. After Ying Ziyue finished speaking, he squinted. The submarine city does not mean that all people have to live under the sea. It is just a small-scale human or scientific research team living in the submarine city. At the same time, this can make great progress in human ocean testing. Once successful, the submarine city will become the biggest choice for the second-level civilization. This is the real secondary civilization. It is not limited to the complete layout of the first-level civilization. After the promotion of 10 giant engines on the Earth, the second-level civilization will be completely exploded, and a new world will come. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 540. It is now in June of the 24th year of the Ice Age. This is a new date and a new era. At the same time, now Ying Ziyue is standing in the tallest conference room in Dragon City. He is overlooking the magical future buildings in front of him, the first-class civilization, and every project is vividly displayed here. One by one, tall buildings and air corridors are appearing vividly. At the same time, every high-rise building is equipped with the second Cambrian eruptive plant of the Ice Age. Plants grow one by one on the surface of each tall building, to know that the Earth is about to enter the second-level civilization and the first-level civilization, so the oxygen concentration must be increased. After the oxygen concentration is increased, the genetic blood survival of biological animals and humans will be greatly improved. This is a real magical world of the future. Now on the 400-meter high rooftop, overlooking the magical era in front of you, a conference is about to begin. Now the official has also invited the global live broadcast team, and now the East has mastered the global news platform. With the start of the conference, the captains of the major scientific research institutes underground scientific research institutes, biological scientific research institutes, and marine scientific research institutes and major fleets all entered the venue, a total of nearly 82 captains, each of which is a high-level marine infrastructure designer. The meeting room is 600 square meters in size, and has a huge area. Ying Ziyue is the main seat, and the global live broadcast of the global conference is also going on. The title is, Important Conference on Submarine City, Mars Survival Base. Now each of these conferences in the East will be broadcast live globally. Some top secret and top secret meetings will be broadcast live. Now it has improved the perception of the whole people, and let the whole people know how many great and shocking plans the East is doing. So when this live broadcast came out, the heat began to explode. The number of online viewers directly reached 2 billion people. This is all the people in the West. They are all watching the live broadcast. Many people are excitedly sending out barrage. The East is really a magical and great country. They are simply powerful and shocking. In the future, this submarine city has exceeded the first-class civilization plan. To be precise, it is impossible to achieve the first-class civilization. This is horrible and unimaginable. Yes, there is also the magical Mars survival base. This is more like a magical survival base plan, which has never appeared in the countless records of current human history. Zero Fine Flowers. The East is about to enter the age of second-level civilization preparation. They are too crazy. They have already paved the way for a civilization explosion. As long as the Earth leaves this galaxy, they can instantly enter the first level civilization, but now they are already in paving the way for the end of the second level. To know the second level civilization, it is possible to conduct various mobile observations and develop civilization research within the solar system. Zero. And now as the barrage is getting hotter, every Western citizen is extremely excited because they have seen the early stage of an epic level project, and this has also been recorded in the World Economics. The 24th year of the Chronicle is June 10th, the new year. At this moment, Ying Ziyue, captain of the Eastern Dragon City, proposed an underwater city and a future Mars base plan, and then received a call to respond. At the same time, a discussion about the new era and new civilization was held in the first conference room of Langcheng, and this meeting was called the beginning of the second civilization. Everyone knows the new era. Want, come, NS, Death Chapter 541. Now in the meeting room, Ying Ziyue stood quietly. He wore a black suit that was spotless, meticulous, without a crease. On the military uniform, there were all animal patterns of mountains and seas. Every animal was cruel, or gentle, mysterious, and unpredictable. It represents the East at this moment. Point. And here, every scientific research team wears every famous architectural pattern in the East, such as the Great Wall of China 560, such as Mount Te and Fang Palace, and so on. Be heroic. Point. The leaders of the oceans are wearing a picture of an icebreaker, a picture of the islands in the Pacific Ocean, a giant aircraft carrier, and so on. There are giant glacier troops one by one, and there are even steamships one by one. Every military uniform is printed the mysterious and extremely mysterious pattern of the future giant ship. Point. In short, everyone presents stood solemnly, piercingly, exuding endless fighting spirit, because everyone knew that now was the beginning of a new era. Point. The reporter is also looking at Ying Ziyue. Now Ying Ziyue has appeared in the global live broadcast. Western people have seen this again. He is best known as the most amazing man of this era. He is 44 years old, and it seems that he is already very old, but in fact he is now like a young man. There is no crease on the surface of his skin, but his hair is white, and he looks more handsome. Because of the increased oxygen concentration in the East and various future medicines, Ying Ziyue really maintained his youthful posture after taking it, but his hair did not turn black, because he had white hair, which seemed even more mysterious. More with the breath of time, this man appeared. His handsome facial features were stunning. Then he spoke. The next era should be a brand new era. So I propose the idea of a Mars survival base in the future submarine cities. We need to come up with the most essential thing, that is the base on Mars. Many people think that the Mars survival base has already appeared, and that is the Mars strike platform. but the real Mars survival base is to build a supergiant survival base to accommodate millions of people to survive, and then gradually spread to Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and the Moon. All build this base, and truly launch large-scale immigration, to build a superplanet. Settlements. This is a future planetary habitation plan. When Ying Ziyue said this, the global barrage burst directly, and everyone was extremely excited, especially the people in the West. Oh my god, it's 24 years of glacier. You know, during the civilization period, someone mentioned the space program, but the captain in the East is too terrifying. The million-scale base is simply a madman. This will be the largest and most terrifying plan in history. I seem to have seen one of the most perverted of Aldoets. Turned out, the greatest super project in the history of the super project has finally appeared. This era should be called the most majestic new era. The East is too strong. During this period of time, a plan is stronger than a plan. Whether it is the development of the first level civilization or the creation of the second level civilization 5.5, not limited to every plan, almost all mankind feels desperate. They really beginning to create a great history. Now everyone is looking at Ying Ziyue. The West is all the people in the East, as well as the captains of the conference rooms, are watching this man point. He seems to have truly become God 1. Chapter 542. Global news platform. The live broadcast titled Glacier New Life is going on. Everyone is watching Ying Ziyue. Just under the eyes of everyone, he spoke. Now the plan is divided into two sentences. The first is the survival base of Mars, and then the invisible Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and the Moon. Every human being, that is, the habitable planet of the solar system, must build a human branch, and at the same time build a space connection channel. At this moment, when Ying Ziyue said this, the aura in the presence once again solidified. I was even extremely excited. Because 02 is a space connection channel. Almost everyone knows the meaning of this channel. First of all, in the solar system, that is, in the galaxy accessible to the Earth, then build a habitable planet base one by one. The role of these planet bases is also great, and dozens or even hundreds of planetary civilization bases can be built. People in the Western scientific research institutes in the East can all be here, and then connect channels to each planet in space, and build spacecraft to fix the flight orbit. This is like the most normal train in the parallel world of mankind, but this time it is directly related to the changes in the universe. So now when Ying Ziyue finished speaking, everyone in the room looked at him with excitement. Every captain couldn't help but speak excitedly. This is the real plan. This is the reserve power of the second level civilization. Now the second level civilization is starting to reserve. I can't imagine how terrifying and powerful this plan will be next. Whether mankind can embark on the most advanced era in the future, then the next step depends on this era. So I'm also extremely excited about this era, the passage of life and space. This sentence was raised by Western scientists during the civilization period, but it was later questioned, because they believed that within 5,000 years, humans would not be able to complete this project. But now, the East has proved it. One thing, that is, nothing is impossible, nothing is limited by time, and the East is using actual evidence to show that everything can be done. Now in the world's attention, Ying Ziyue puts forward the phrase space base link. Then it was called the 24th year of the Ice Age in the Chronicles of the World. Starting in July, this new and great plan was proposed by the East, that is, in the next stage of life in the solar system, every ancient star of life will be detected next, and regional survival bases will be built under the condition of determining that there is no danger in technological occult blood, and then these giant survival bases will be connected into a line. Jupiter connects with Saturn, and Saturn connects with Mercury, and then forms the space connecting channel road line. After that, connect to the Earth's super space elevator, and then take the space elevator to come into the galaxy. Now that the protagonist has finished speaking, a brand new second level civilization technology system appeared in front of the protagonist. At the same time, This new technology system appeared in front of everyone. The global live broadcast is also in progress. After the people, some old people, and some Western scientists want to become agricultural and industrial land in the West, a scholar chooses to hide his identity and continue to work, but now they can't help it anymore, because no one unexpectedly, Dongfang himself had already come this far. They are really completing the layout one by one. They have never seen such a terrifying layout for thousands of years. This is simply the most terrifying starry sky layout. They really have a perfect layout for every area of the starry sky and superconception. This is truly in line with the development of this era. Chapter 543. Barrage is now extremely hot. Now a clear projection screen appeared in front of Ying Ziyue point. That is the space elevator, which came from a certain island in the east, and then the space elevator project was built on the island. The space elevator is more than 50,000 kilometers above the ground, and then some tourists, scientific researchers, or occupants of the planet can take the space elevator, and then come to the outer space base of the Earth point. Then there are rows of rows in the outer space base, spacecraft, giant spacecraft, small spacecraft phase I, space motorcycles, space chariots, and so on. A new technological flying chariot hull device can be carried out in this vacuum gravity environment. Flying fast. At the same time, it is also necessary to move towards a fixed space bus on a fixed planet, such as a Mars bus, a Jupiter bus, and a Mercury bus. This is also called a space bus. This type of bus can make a fixed turn back and forth. Finally, I got on this kind of space chariot, and then gradually proceeded safely along the planetary connection channel. Without any meteorite group or complex black hole group, you can shuttle through the entire solar system to watch the stalwart shores of the universe, the mighty moon, and everyone. The ancient mystery of the planet, and the enchanting twinkle of a group of meteorites. At the same time, you can also see the depth of the universe. This is a real second-class civilization. Now it has a one-half layout, which has been fully reflected again. It can be said that after a brand new era, it will appear clearly. Every step is extremely complete, extremely perfect and perfect. The perfect presentation of the space connection channel. When the fictional picture appears in the form of an image, Ying Ziyue seems to have crossed the edge in front of the image. It seems that this project is far away, but in fact it is not far behind. Ying Ziyue, the chief engineer in charge of aviation, then stood up and saluted. Report, Captain. Currently spaceships, space vehicles, space motorcycles, space buses, and space exclusive airships have been under construction. At present, all the basic flight materials selected in the drawings have been selected, because we have had experience in the outside world. Because of the experience of spacecraft, it is not difficult to build, and the space base is not difficult. Next, you only need to use the Mars strike device to clean the pieces of safe passages. Then the person in charge of the scientific research base stood up and spoke. Tell Captain, it's not difficult to build a life base on every ancient star in the solar system and every planet. In this era, we are also capable of completing it, because in the civilization period, the West, we tried 45 kinds of construction methods, and we also tried nearly hundreds of them, because this one will be a real leap of the human age and a leap of civilization. At the same time, behind Ying Ziyue, the general manager of the space elevator also reports. Report to the captain. Although the space elevator plan looks complicated and strange, in fact, the plan is not difficult. At present, we are also conducting a complete investigation of the plan, honing and learning. Li Wanghao, we are confident that we can complete the project. Now the super plan has all been incorporated on the right track. Space learning, grave, engineering, electricity, scientific research. In the new era of spacecraft structure, every academic has been newly presented. The East is creating future civilizations one by one. These old people have truly demonstrated their great power and dedication. The future is just beginning. 1. Chapter 544. Then the whole audience is watching Ying Ziyue, because this involves the second plan, that is, the future submarine city plan. What is the second level civilization? The first class civilization means that you can freely control everything on the earth, such as changing the weather, such as cooling a certain area, and building some huge buildings. These are all first-class civilizations, but when it comes to the second-level civilization, it is to build a real civilization base under certain fixed conditions, such as building a submarine city on the seabed at a depth of 10,000 meters, which belongs to the second-level civilization. Finally, Ying Ziyue looked at the audience. There were a total of 82 team captains in the 600 square meter meeting room. The current conference belongs to the 4th level conference, and the truly top conference is the 1st level conference. The global live broadcast is in progress. Ying Ziyue looked at the world and spoke. It is now in June of the 24th year of the Ice Age. A very critical issue has come. The 1st level civilization can be launched by the end of this year. That is, the Earth will fly out of the solar system. How did you conceive the submarine city? Once the submarine city is built, it can be considered in the true sense. If you have a thorough grasp of the Earth, mankind will be the greatest master of the planet. Now, at the moment of much anticipated, Ying Ziyue spoke. When his voice was excited, when he finished speaking, the atmosphere seemed to burst, because this plan is even greater and more shocking. The global live broadcast is underway. At present, there are as many as 5 billion people watching the live broadcast. Some people in the West are watching almost all of them. They are all watching these epic changes in the East. I want to see where the East will develop next, because now Dongfeng does not have any leaders or seekers. They themselves are walking on this invincible road, and now this invincible road has developed very successfully. These barrage appeared one by one. They are all messages from some Western scholars and some students, and they are all shocked and majestic about the current plan. I can only say that this is another super crazy plan. The submarine city, your real success in this construction, shows that in a sense, the East really has the right to possess gods. This is simply a crazy country. Some behavior. It's a crazy existence. They are really making history. Hardly any imagination is needed. Once successful, this plan will overturn everything. The barrage went on again, and at the same time everyone on the scene began to report. The first one is about the chief of the Pacific Maritime Center, and then she stood up and reported. Report, Captain. It is not difficult to sit in the submarine city in front of 10,000 meters. Now the glacial submarines are very brand new, and then the submarines began to sink one by one under the water of 10,000 meters, and then began to build the city. Then connect these submarines one by one, which can be equipped with a panoramic glass device. This means that a submarine city is formed by submarines. This city will be permanently absorbed under the ground and inside the sea. Once severe fluctuations occur, carry out submarine rescue. The captain in front of me gave an excellent plan. That is, build a new form of submarine, connect the submarines to create a submarine city, and then the submarines begin to dive under the seabed at a depth of 10,000 meters, and then connect to each other. Have an ecosystem and other scientific and technological systems, scientific research systems. With these systems in place, a super submarine city has taken shape. This is the submarine city in the real civilization period, and this is a real majestic era. Chapter 545. Now Ying Ziyue is watching the audience. He was looking at the team leader of every person in charge of the Pacific, as well as the team leaders of some special machinery, and every high level. He showed an elegant and stagnant smile. What follows will be the greatest and the newest era. He slowly walked to the windowsill, and the global live broadcast was shooting his picture. This is like a real gentleman. The black suit is spotless and straight. The whole person exudes an elegant and noble atmosphere, ancient, mysterious, and powerful. The space-based plan. This plan has already begun to take shape completely, and the next step will be the construction, development, and establishment of civilization. As for the submarine city as the most outstanding building of the second-class civilization, this one must also be built. This one will be built in all aspects next, and at the same time, will be responsible for all aspects and investigations of the National Infrastructure Institute and the taping offshore platform. As for other secondary civilizations, it is within the solar system. That is a great and shocking project. The meeting lasted for nearly half a month. A total of more than 800 team leaders came to live the meeting and the project live broadcast. Ying Ziyue has already witnessed the 2 second level civilization layouts and their complete presentation here. On August 1, 24th of the Ice Age. This was another exceptionally cold date point. The cold wind is howling. Storms are galloping. Under these harsh winds, Ying Ziyue is now at his home. He is standing by the window. This cabin is exclusively for him. You can watch the address outside the northwest of Langcheng and the extreme weather standing under the balcony overlooking the bad weather, watching the blizzard and hail. The bad weather formed at the same time -35 degrees. It's not very cold anymore. But as the earth is about to walk into parallel lines, now the earth has begun to enter a state of severe cold. That is, the global weather is getting bad again, but this time, the west has reached -80 degrees. According to the past, they will suffer heavy losses because they are above the surface. Even if they are below the center of the earth, there will be a lot of losses within the bunker. Food is scarce, and the spread of disease and other effects will be like this. But now, it has developed into an industrial base there, and there is also an agricultural land, which makes the West completely surrender. Ying Ziyue stood by the balcony. He looked at every area in the west of Dragon City. Zero fine flowers. The blizzard began to raging. Flying chariots in the sky, as well as smart projections, are clearly appearing, with super tech luster, and the breath of a new era is spreading. This is the beginning of this era. The real forward is only the beginning. It is not over yet. That is the newest and greatest era, which is about to kick off. For thousands of years of human history, the creation of civilization, the development of the times, the inheritance of science and technology, all the changes are all moving towards perfection and stunning. Now it stands in Dragon City. This city has undergone too many changes, countless historical developments, the old modern city, and then the glacier came and turned into a city of steel, a city of steam, and then a city of steam technology. Then there is a semi-technological city. Starting from this era, it means that every city in the world has undergone super-altering changes. That is, the new invincible era begins to spread, development, inheritance. Then one after another brand new era appeared. Too many. For example, the super tech city, the new city in the future point, and now it is directly a first-class civilization city. Death chapter 546. It is August 1st of the 24th year of the Ice Age. This is a brand new date. First in the space base, after the connection plan took shape, then a brand new plan was launched, which was named the 5,000 kilometers underground scientific research plan. In order to deal with the second level civilization, the mechanical scientific research, biology, medicine, etc. of the Eastern Kingdom will all enter a new era point. In addition, Ying Ziyue is in the city, and the weather and temperature in the city can be adjusted freely for 563. The current temperature is basically around 20 degrees. You can wear basic clothes and walk around the city without any whistling wind and bad weather. There is only an environment with extremely high free oxygen concentration and gentle winds, which can be called gentle. Tenderness has reached its limit. This is the most beautiful era point. At the same time, the buildings in the city have been completely formed. You must know that at the beginning, this sky corridor style building was just an experiment, and then it was finalized. Now the new architectural form appears perfectly and completely. Now Ying Ziyue is riding a chariot, and then to the underground scientific research institute. Research institutes existed after the civilization period, but they were prepared for strategy in the past. 5,000 kilometers of underground passages. Underground passages are equipped with great engineering behavior research such as scientific research and medicine. Now Ying Ziyue drove there. His posture and expression became solemn. The first thing you see when you enter the Scientific Research Institute is the Underground Scientific Research Institute. Ying Ziyue was followed by Li Hao, the deputy team leader, and some top scientific research professors from the National Academy of Sciences. There are also some security personnel, close to 30 people in total. They walked into the Underground Scientific Research Institute. The area of the Scientific Research Institute is huge, with a total area of nearly 10 kilometers. This is just the area of the building. At the same time, the test area is close to 500 kilometers. It can be said that the area is extremely large. There are close to hundreds of thousands of top scientific research talents here. It is distributed to any park in the world or even outer space for scientific research, as well as scientific mechanical design. Entering here now, Ying Ziyue's expression has become dignified because he has seen a brand new building. That is the new design of the research institute. For example, a super submarine that can be connected to a submarine city under the sea. This submarine is called the new number 1 submarine. Once this submarine starts to connect, it will be the most accurate and new form. At the same time, there is the super mechanical alloy battle armor. The super mechanical alloy battle armor is human beings on the seabed, or in the universe under a vacuum environment, as well as in mid-air. Once humans put on the battle armor similar to Iron Man can carry out super airship spaceflight. It can survive undersea breathing and even face meteorite impact. This is a truly super-powered fighter plane with extremely high extremes, strong protection, excellent ability 0, and this is just one of the scientific research projects. The truly greatest scientific research project is the electromagnetic gun. The second research institute mainly conducts basic design. The real test failure is to be transported to the military weapons test center, which is the Siberian weapons test center. But this electromagnetic gun is really a supergiant electromagnetic gun device that occupies 300 kilometers. Ying Ziyue saw this device. This is the next time the second level civilization and outer space civilization will be opened in the east, then the super device that will be used next. The electromagnetic gun has the greatest effect. Once placed on the Dragon super spacecraft, then an electromagnetic cannon is activated suddenly. It will burst, bombing the audience. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 547. Ying Ziyue continued to pace forward. He mechanically watched the scenes of magical buildings in front of him. At the same time, Ying Ziyue is also continuing to look at new designs. In the depths of the research institute, there is an orbit connecting ancient stars for life in space. This orbit is called the New Space Link orbit, because first of all, the space environment is a vacuum repressed environment. Under the current environment, it is completely impossible to build a conventional orbit point because of the impact of vacuum, air currents, Earth rotation, and meteorite group impacts. A new orbit must be equipped, and this kind of space orbit has a very strong and excellent ability, that is, super protective movement. The overall style of the space orbit is the same as a normal orbit, except that the material 02 is interwoven with speeds, which means that this orbit looks extremely soft, but in fact it is extremely hard. Even the impact of meteorite swarms seems to be detected. Therefore, the spacecraft will be able to fly safely along the orbit, and will not worry about being sucked into the universe or accidentally falling into the space area of the rest of the life galaxy. Then Ying Ziyue saw the last test device, which was a super transmission device. This kind of transmission device is not surprising. The most famous Godzilla once proposed this kind of device during the civilization period and even more than 100 years ago. That is the global transmission device. Once such a device is not necessarily global transmission now, it can be constructed in any region of the world, and can experience any region of the world in just a few minutes, and it can even be transmitted outside the universe. Hypermorphic transmission. Ying Ziyue became more excited when she saw this device. The expression became more and more shocked. This really involved the small space jumping technique. It's just still under development. Once the research is successful, so when facing a large-scale disaster accident crisis really comes, some rescuers who are armed can take this space jumping device to quickly go to rescue, and the armed forces are disintegrated. This is truly a magical device with the performance development of the ultra-high era. Now Ying Ziyue's pupils are getting brighter, watching the magical buildings in front of her. There are also magnificent design-oriented buildings and conceptual buildings appearing. He became more and more excited, which is in line with the development of this era. At the same time, there will be too many scattered scientific research buildings, such as intelligent flying buildings, which are mainly built outdoors. For example, on a high mountain, a building will fly up and then fly to the top of the mountain. Humans living inside can fly freely to any corner, and at the same time, carry out comfortable living and cooking inside. Many things that violate scientific knowledge are all presented in one point. This is the level of development of this era. Extremely fast and barbaric. Engineering Xihai is watching. His mood grew more and more excited, and he was more amazed. Because no one would have thought that the development of this era would reach this level. Oh my god, this is a great era. It's super development. Xihai was watching in shock, watching the epic picture, looking at the architecture of this item. I felt a real shock point, the shock of this era and the shock of the future. In the next 7 million years, the Earth is about to leave this galaxy. Then the future will be endless power. No one knows how far it will reach. Chapter 548. Now, Ying Ziyue is exhibiting, looking down with the naked eye. The General Research Center, which is 5,000 kilometers underground, has been completely changed. Now it has become technologically lister, and the underground passage is equipped with super graphene and super hard steel materials. Surface protection has been carried out to ensure that there will be no geological collapse, cracks, etc. caused by geological disasters such as earthquakes. At the same time, every building is super defense and assistance, which means that once a disaster occurs, this kind of building can be born from the ground. This is the current level of perfection of the building. The Scientific Research Institute gave Ying Ziyue a big surprise, because all the projects of the current Scientific Research Institute are basically prepared for the second level civilization. There are also preparations for the current level of civilization. The final display of the first level civilization is all over. Last moment, Ying Ziyue went on to watch the rest of the research center, and now we have arrived at one of the most critical underground research institutes, that is, the Institute of Underground Biology, which can also be called the most critical biological research center. During the period of the Institute of Biology and Civilization, the Northern Cambrian team formed a super underground biology institute with professors, doctors, etc. from major biological universities in the south. It truly possesses the power of high-quality Eastern biological students, professors, and doctors, because they can operate in the current environment, conduct extremely high-level academic research, including this moment, the advancement of Cambrian research, and now Ying Ziyue and Vice Captain Xihai have entered the Underground Biological Institute. It occupies a total area of nearly 800 kilometers. Within these 800 kilometers are the recovery of some microbes in the Ice Age, the recovery and extinction of dinosaurs, and the recovery of species. That is the study of the return of the ancient ape man, and so on. At the same time, there are some special period flowers and trees, all of which are trying to revive and build. When entering here, Ying Ziyue seemed to have entered a sea of flowers, and saw all the magnificent waves among them. The small mammoth is running. This is the perfect resurrected animal in the real mammoth period, with a super wild sense, and there is also Deng's fish. This super giant fish appeared. There are also some special trees of the new era, stalwart trees, all showing the greatest breadth of the new era. At the same time, in front of Ying Ziyue, Zhao Xianqi, the responsible doctor of the Institute of Underground Biology, spoke up. Report, Captain. The current Underground Scientific Research Institute has perfectly launched the nuclear weapons first-class civilization plan. That is, within nearly 10,000 years, there will be a perfect recovery of dinosaur species in special periods such as the Jurassic and the White Sting. In the future, as the concentration of superoxygen increases on the Earth, the purification substances will also increase. This means that those dinosaurs and mammoths will truly have the breadth of that era for the entire age, and that is the real recovery. At the same time, there will be a large number of new plants and special flora, which will start to grow in the snow. Even without the nutrients in the soil, they can still perform new photosynthetic growth. The research doctor is not only talking. At the same time, he led Ying Ziyue into a piece of underground ice, Li Wangzhou, in front of the greenhouse of the Sichuan experimental base, which was about 100 kilometers away. Above the surface of the greenhouse is a 10-meter thick glacier, and special plants grow on the ice and snow layer. This is where countless verdant grasses and weeds grow, exuding a strong breath of life, and it looks extremely fresh. Looking across the entire 100-meter ice and snow, those countless green grasses are growing, glowing with a strong breath of life. It grows brilliantly, and is extremely stunning. This is another explosion of brand new life. Chapter 549. Now Ying Ziyue left the Underground Biology Institute, and came to the new Research Institute. That is the Underground Medical Clinic. There are a lot of records about the Underground Medical Clinic, and here is a truly advanced medical environment. The Underground Scientific Research Institute has been committed to researching human genes, endurance, physical resistance, bloodline and other strengths since the civilization period. Then, in the reincarnation of one era after another, it began to get a burst of rendering and improvement. Now, Ying Ziyue looks at the Underground Scientific Research Institute behind him as a place of scientific research machinery attainments, glowing with a new breath of life, an extremely vigorous mechanical life, and the Underground Biological Institute exudes the most essential breath of life. It is countless green grasses. Plants are born and spread, and then create a complete biological center. Now, in front of Ying Ziyue is the Underground Medical Clinic. This is the real core area about underground medical care. This large area of medical research is close to 50 kilometers. When Ying Ziyue entered, he saw that there were some test humans being tested. Under the condition of the blood vessel changes of the human body at -80 degrees, the testers are physically fit, and then enter the test space under the environment of -80 degrees without any protection. The blizzard howls, the cold wind howls, and then the body's blood gene resistant activity begins to emanate. Ying Ziyue was watching, and in this environment, the subject did not change anything. Because after he swallowed a gene enhancing drug, his gene enhancement formed his own layer of thermal energy protection chain. Then Ying Ziyue moved on, and watched the second test. The second test was even more shocking. That is to test in the test waters at a depth of 100 meters. Then the subject, a normal adult male, then jumped into the water and then fell to the bottom of the sea for a long-term survival test. When the test agent is swallowed, the human body can absorb a small amount of oxygen in the sea water and then can break through the 1020-meter diving barrier, which means that the organs of ordinary people will be strengthened and can fly freely underwater for nearly 3 hours. Even in the event of fatal disasters such as floods, they can still survive in the water, and the educated youth will inject genes into each generation of newborns in the future, which means that the future Oriental people will truly no longer fear the severe cold. No longer be afraid that the sea will truly have a strong breath of life. Then Ying Ziyue looked at the Underground Medical Clinic. Every project design, there are even some human anti-gravity flights, but this kind of device has broken through the human economy and first reached the third level of civilization. It is only a new era estimate. At the same time, there are miraculous medical researches on super jumping, human resistance test, human self-defense, disease elimination, etc. Ying Ziyue looked very satisfied. Now I walked out of here, a scientific research institute 5,000 kilometers underground. Just walked a half of the area. There is also a more special research institute, such as major weapons. There are also some large academic research institutes for special mechanical research, starry sky research, anthropological physics, agricultural science and industrial science, and so on. In a few months, the Earth will be out of the dense galaxy. Now, remember this era, because next Earth-shaking era changes will occur, and the super era is coming. Seeing the stalwart era, Chen Hanzhang felt shocked and majestic. Chapter 550. It is the end of August and the 24th year of the Ice Age, and now it is about to enter the end date. That is, after 4 months, millions of giant engines on the Earth will start at the same time, and then carry out superflight. This means that it will be the most shocking scene, and the most sacred scene will appear. And now it is located in the tallest meeting room in Dragon City, on the roof. The cold wind roars. At the same time, Ying Ziyue stood straight, an incomparable evildoer in a black suit, and he really looked like an elegant noble son, a gentleman. Then, he walked from Langcheng and Li Hao to the meeting room, on the roof of the stage. On the rooftop, a circular military designed super aircraft also known as a flying UFO, is ready to fly. The overall area of the UFO is not large. It looks like the size of an off-road vehicle, but the exterior is equipped with a super protective alloy structure point, but this is a real magical style building. It looks very magical, with super sci-fi style technology style. The round engine shell, super construction machinery building, possesses the atmosphere of superior civilization and scientific research. At the same time, it adopts the top anti-power thrust among all the current flying classes on the Earth. This aircraft is the pinnacle and the only anti-power device with 100% safe flight, which means that flying FO is truly sacred and safe. Ying Ziyue got on the pilot suit and finally began to wear flight gloves, flight mask, flight sunglasses, and flight clothing. After wearing it, I went out and turned on the flight start button. With the control, the UFO hardly oscillated. The anti-gravity flight began to slowly rise, and a new miracle began to appear. At the same time, this is just the beginning of the flight operation. A more magical scene, the birth and spread, after more than 20 years of precipitation. After approaching 50 years old, Ying Ziyue truly possesses precipitation, elegance, and nobility. Those aggressive auras in the past turned into real nobility. One disaster after another, and the training of various major projects, made him truly an excellent world-minded scholar of higher learning. So Ying Ziyue spoke, and his voice had a strong sense of mastering everything. Next, the global plan has been completed. We are going to take a tour. Do you know what will be next after the tour? Zero fine flowers. Ying Ziyue spoke to Li Hao. He attaches great importance to this cultivator, because this cultivator is the only top genius who has advanced academic elegance and tactics and various engineering, scientific research and medical machinery, and is very proficient in his character and personality. Cheng's tempered. So this is a truly outstanding genius. So Ying Ziyue nodded, very satisfied. Li Hao is very smart, especially after following Ying Ziyue for more than 10 years. He has seen too many projects a long time ago. Then speak. The global channel will be opened. The Earth going out of the dangerous galaxy also means the opening of the global channel. All residents will enter the global channel. That will be an epic change. After this scene, it also means a new era. Now Li Hao's voice is getting more and more excited, more and more shocking, but he almost speaks in a tragic voice. Now, Ying Ziyue nodded. This is a current great era. Welcome back, gentlemen. Death. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.